Hi, I'm Jim Meyer. I'm a retired ELCA Lutheran pastor from the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. And in my collection in Times Long Ago, I'd like to tell you the story entitled The New Wash Machine by James P. Meyer. And this is Viola's story. I was studying the directions to our new wash machine when my sister Stella just came in and grabbed the instructions from me and proceeded to read them to me while motioning me to do the work. Luckily, I had some of the preparations already done. She said, the directions!" And pointing said, "There on the stove is the big boiler pot. The fire must be stoked to keep a high boiling temperature." She looked at me and nodded for me to stoke the fire, which I did, but reluctantly. When the water gets to boiling point, pails are used to take water from the boiler pot to the new wash machine. I was so hot and tired carrying that bucket back and forth. And then she said, when we get enough water in, about 3 or 4 gallons, I shrieked and went quickly and carried 2 more bucketfuls. I couldn't see for the sweat in my eyes. She continued with the directions, not giving me 1 second's rest. She read, "Soap and light chips are shaved in." Well, I grabbed the soap and with a knife I started shaving in soap chips. Then I took the jar of lye, and as I put in the lye, a plumb of lye cloud wafted up my nose and into my eyes. I sneezed and sputtered, gasping for oxygen. Stella looked at me and sang, "The lye will make the water softer." As I waved the cloud away, she went on, "Now we put the white clothes in." Leaning down, I scooped up the white clothes that I had already separated and put them into the wash machine. "What a wonderful invention this is," she sang, and said, "All we do is crank." "We?" I blurted out, and she pointed to the cranker. Well, I started cranking and cranking. It must have looked easier than it was because I could hardly breathe. When I wanted to stop to rush, she said, "Next, the boiler pot is still boiling and has enough water in it for the rinse. So take your paddle and lift the clothes out of the washing machine and put them into the boiler pot." I ladled those wet, heavy clothes into a basket and drug it back to the boiler pot, nearly running into it with my behind, and gingerly put the hot clothes in the pot. We rinse and boil the soap and germs right out of them, and we stir. I looked at her incredulously, and she grabbed the stirring paddle and pushed it into my chest, forcing me to grab it. She said loudly in a cross term, "Stir." So I stirred and stirred and stirred. I stopped to rest, using my sleeve to get the sweat out of my eyes, and she chimed, "And those clothes are getting ever so clean. And just when you think they're clean enough, you simply put them through the wringer." Ouch! Careful of your fingers. The warning was too late because I drew my hand back quickly and sucked on my smarting fingers. Now, when that's done, you simply repeat the entire process with the colored clothes, using new clean water in your boiling pot, if you so desire. I looked at her and gestured, "No way!" and went back to breathing. She read on, "When all the clothes are done, you simply hang them on the clothesline to dry. If it's winter, your clothes will freeze stiff. That makes them whiter. You simply have to be careful when you take them off the line. They may break in half." The end. I wonder I wonder if this wash machine was more work than the scrub board that they used before it. I wonder if you or your mother ever used a hand crank wash machine. I wonder if the directions were adequate. I wonder if one could get burned or scalded by the water or cut and flattened by the wringer. I wonder, could sheets break in half? And now our family room reflection. These are the things you must insist on and teach. Let no one despise your youth, but set the believers an example in speech and conduct, in love, in faith, in purity. Until I arrive, give attention to the public reading of Scripture, to exhorting, to teaching. Do not neglect the gift that is in you, which was given you through prophecy with the laying on of my hands and the hands of the council of elders. Put these things into practice. Devote yourself to them, so that all may see your progress. Pay close attention to yourself and to your teaching. Continue in these things, for in doing this, you will save both yourself and your hearers. From Paul's letter to 1 Timothy chapter 4, verses 11 through 16. And now our recollections. Most of us have a sense of being clean and doing what is right. Paul certainly wants Timothy to be successful in his ministry. Timothy was given instructions through the prophesying at his ordination when they laid hands on him. Viola was also given instructions and learned by fire as she went through the first washing. Her sister Stella bolstered her on, cajoling her and threatening her with seniority. Paul also bolstered Timothy on how to minister. He remembered Timothy's ordination and reminded him of the spirit that was given to him to rely on and put into practice. Watch what you're doing and you'll be all right. The directions were to lead both Viola and Timothy on to success. What is your story of learning and encouragement?